Welcome into the Casual Gaming Conversation. I'm Connor. That's Nick. This is your weekly gaming podcast from Co-op 64. Today we're talking Silent Hill F. We're talking Hades 2. We're talking Black Ops 7 Beta Impressions. But before we get into that, Nick, how we feeling?
Connor, I'm feeling so good. You want to know why? You want to know why? There's a little band out of New York City called The Strokes that are back in action, and my timeline is just getting pounded by Jimmy and the boys, okay? This has been so much fun because it reminds me of one of my favorite days ever, which is way back in April of 2020, where we got a little game that I like called Final Fantasy VII Remake, released on the same day as the new Abnormal by The Strokes, which are one of my favorite rock albums of all time. It has the Adults Are Talking first song, third favorite song ever. Love that track.
Ode to the Mets.
Ode to the freaking Mets. This morning, first thing I played was Ode to the Mets, because I went and I woke up and immediately I see Reptilia ACL and I'm just like, all right. And then I'm like, well, it's early. Like, I woke up at 6:45 this morning, so I'm like, I can't like start bumping music. So I threw on Ode to the Mets, but I bumped it real loud anyways. Oh my gosh, dude, I love this band. We're so back. I keep on sending my buddy Andrew a photo of Julian Casablancas, and I'm like, there's only one man that can save us, because Tame Impala officially not playing Bonnaroo next year, which they were a potential great headliner. I'm somebody that likes Tame quite a bit. I've seen them before. They rip it.
I've never seen Tame.
They're good. Like,
I had the opportunity and I didn't. I saw Walk the Moon instead, which is a mistake.
It's funny to think about the way that like festivals and posters work nowadays, where like Tame Impala in like 2015, you could see them like at like, right. 6, 7 p.m. But now they're just headlining everything.
Yeah, Currents changed the trajectory for that band for sure.
Oh yeah. Or for Kevin and the squad. But yeah, but like, so they're out, and I still want to go to Bonnaroo next year. I don't know if we're going to be able to get free tickets like we did this year, but I still want to go and attend, because I feel like there's still magic out there. There's still fun to be had out on the farm. And so they're playing ACL right now, and I'm just like, come on, come back to me, baby, and let them either headline, or they're sub-headlining ACL right now, and they're sub-headlining Coachella next year. Yeah. Can we talk about the Coachella line real quick?
Nine Inch Nails, baby.
Well, here's what I'm saying. Everyone's getting pissed off that there is no rock headliner. You're talking about 3 pop acts, but you have the Strokes and Nine Inch Nails, basically, which is Nine Inch Noise. I know it's not actually Nine Inch Nails, but
it is.
They're going to play Nine Inch Nails song during that set.
It's going to be all Nine Inch Nails songs.
Exactly.
Remixed with Boys Noise, yeah.
Which is awesome.
Which they've been doing on this tour, and those are like the highlights of the show.
Exactly. So people need to chill. People need to calm the hell down about this Coachella lineup. But I'm stoked. I need Jimmy to come out to the farm and bring the music, dude. And the other part is, I also am going to Shaky Knees next year for sure. At this point, got a free ticket. It's like, can they? I will see.
Oh, do you think we get an album out of this, or
no?
Really?
The Strokes only tour. They only play to fund Julian Casablancas' real project, The Voids. That is, I'm not even joking. He's been like, yeah, like this is just what it is. But they're playing sets right now, and I'm just like reading through the set list, and I'm like, their 16th best song might be better than anyone else's 16th best song.
Are they playing a different lineup every single night?
They're playing they're mixing it up a decent amount, but also like, you're still getting your staples. Like, the fun part is you're almost always getting The Adults Are Talking, Bad Decisions off the new Abnormal. You're almost always getting Someday and Last Night off of Is This It? And then it's a hodgepodge of different tracks between the different albums. But like, dude, like hearing Hard to Explain live is just like, it's one of the best songs ever. Like, it is, but like, that might be their 10th best song. Like, I love this band so much. I know we've been talking about the Strokes now for like 5 minutes, but I'm just all in right now. I am enjoying the hell out of it, and it's been great when I can throw, like, most likely after today, where I'm going to calm down a little bit with Hades. Like, I'm going to start playing Yote and moving on to some other things. But most likely I'm going to have a couple of Hades runs today where I throw on Is This It in the background and then just go for a run, because holy smokes, dude, I'm all in right now. How are you doing, man?
Yeah, right when I thought I was out on the Nine Inch Nails hype train after seeing them a few weeks ago, they get me right back in. Now we're leading into another show in February. I'm stoked again.
And it's in Columbus at this
awesome.
time. So you're not
I
going
was
to
thinking about driving to Nashville to see them again because I was so high after the first show that I went to in Cleveland that I was like, maybe I'll drive to Nashville next weekend and go see them again. But now, thank goodness I didn't do that because now I can go in Columbus in February.
And now Connor's like, so how much? What's the tickets price for you, Nick? Where do you need to be at? Because it's a Friday show, which normally the biggest things for me with music nowadays isn't the proximity and where they are. Is it on a Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday? Because if it is, I just don't go at this point. I would have seen like The Head and the Heart earlier this year. I would have seen Father John Misty. I would have seen a few different acts. But like I'm coming off of arguably the best music run I've ever had in my entire life. I still like last night, like I went to bed and curled up, I was thinking obviously about Hades because that's all I can think about right now. But then I thought about the fact that literally like 2 weeks ago, I was jamming to the Black Parade. And it's like, oh my gosh, dude, life is good right now. But yeah, other than Nine Inch Nails, any other news or just football? We're talking about Jameis Winston
got
before the spawn.
Game shelf for the retro collection.
Another
We've expanded. Now I have a lot more space. Thank goodness I was capped out. So that's very exciting. Got some PSP games yesterday. Went to Vacuums and Video Games in Dayton.
Whoa.
Got Tactics Ogre. Got Dissidia Duodecim on 12 for the PSP as well.
Right over my head, everyone.
Dissidia is the Final Fantasy fighting
game.
Yeah. And got Patapon 2.
Dude,
very exciting.
Is Patapon underrated? Because I think at this point it is. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the PSP staples, generally speaking, are kind of underrated. Your Patapons, your Loco Rocos. Nobody's talking about those games nowadays, but except for us right now.
Yeah. So,
we haven't hopped into Yote yet, which is we're 4 days post release, and I cannot believe that we haven't played it.
It's still in the Saran wrap for me.
It's a bummer.
We've obviously. This podcast, all the games we're discussing. Connor brought this up yesterday while we were shooting Bonus Pod, which is hysterical. Bonus Pod, if you're over on Patreon, you can't miss content. Like it'll eventually this one will come out to free feeds because it was a actually I promise, but like you cannot miss it. But we were shooting that, and Connor's like, tomorrow's kind of just what we've been playing. Like that's what we're doing today because there's so much that we still need to get through.
P3P, do you want me to talk about that for a little bit? Or?
If you want to, but
great. It's good stuff.
Great video game.
The music is so good.
But it's what we've been playing, but it's the modern stuff. Like we're just talking through literally like we've been trying to get through a lot of games. Connor and I just went through our October schedule of who's reviewing what, how we're reviewing it, and all that good stuff. And like,
it's too much.
There's a lot. And so we're gonna dive into Yote today. That's gonna be my.
Brady's played 5 hours of it. Apparently, Brady's sunk into this game.
Yeah, Brady's all in. The plan is, by the way, we can now say this. We do plan on having Brady on that review, which makes sense. Ghost of Tsushima is his second favorite game of all time. It makes sense to have him on a pod like that.
Said he's loving it so far.
Yeah, which is like it excites me so much. The sentiment that I've seen the most is you either loved Tsushima and you're loving this, or you didn't love Tsushima and this is improved on the things that people didn't love in Tsushima, and now you're loving this.
How do you not love Tsushima?
I mean,
everybody complains about like the open world aspects of this of Tsushima. If you don't like it. And it's like, well, if you don't like Tsushima's open world, you just not like open world games in general.
For sure. Because it's arguably the best open world formatting in a game with the lack of UI and stuff like that. It is really brilliant with the way the wind and the birds and the boxes work. And it's like, I think my big issue with Tsushima is the story. Is just the overarching narrative. I just don't agree with that. People love
second best written game of all time, Nick, according to that list that we reacted to.
That was wild. I still can't believe that. But yeah, no, I'll the way that game is written, though, the 3-act structure and everything, I do think tells an interesting story. But the hard part is you have like great opening, nothing happens in the middle, good finale, basically. Good season opener, good finale. That's sort of the way that entire story works, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And all the in-between stuff, I'm like, this is a 30-hour game. The narrative beats aren't hitting when they need to. So enough said about that. We will be hopping into Yote. The plan is to have that review, not this upcoming podcast, because it's a 30, 40, 50-hour game. We're going to be trying our best to like schedule time and really focus on getting this done. But it will be the podcast after is the plan for CGC. So just bear with us. It'll be a fun podcast. Me, Connor, Brady, all shooting the breeze about Yote when we get the chance to. But that's not today's topic. Today's first topic, though, Connor, is housekeeping.
This show is made possible by all our lovely supporters over on Patreon. If you want to support the show at that lowest tier, you get this show and the Casual Gaming News Conversation 3 days early, and you get a bonus episode of the podcast every single week. We recently did a Q&A. We did a Donkey Kong Bonanza spoiler cast. That's running 2 spoiler casts. We're posting a review for the Minecraft movie this week, which was a goal set during Extra Life that you guys smashed past. So we all watched the Minecraft movie. We recorded our thoughts, and it's going up. Enjoy.
Highly recommend watching this one on YouTube. If you're someone that normally watch it or just listens, watch it on YouTube, because there's like 3 different times where we all were trying to make each other laugh during this podcast. We were all having a great vibe. Connor made me laugh so much during this, and he will also make you laugh during this. And then there's also just moments where all 3 of us are just being goofballs, and you watch it on YouTube. You're still gonna have a great time if you don't, but there just might be certain times where it's literally dead silent because we're all laughing. And you're like, what's happening in this podcast? Just a heads up there. It is awesome. One of the best podcasts we've ever shot if you like the stupid fun stuff that we do here.
At the next tier up, we have the Co-op 64 podcast, which we just posted an episode talking about the mail, home cooking, Halloween, and Skyline Chili. Nice. So just a fun conversational podcast at that $10 tier. We also have Recollecting Retro, where we take you to retro stores, pick out a few games, go over what we got. We have an episode coming up that we got to record next week. I'm very excited about that.
I'm very excited about it too, because also this is there's something at the end of housekeeping that'll toss out there, but like we're beelining to a very fun point of content, which is just like we're getting towards the end of the year, so we only got a couple Recollected Retros left for the rest of this year, and then it's all out to next year.
Maybe we should stack a few of them up so we don't have to record during busy season. Let's just go to a bunch of stores in one day, Nick. Come
Connor,
on, let's drive to Columbus. Let's drive to
Well,
Indianapolis.
Connor,
let's drive.
I will never forget, and maybe I will never forgive you for the fact that I was streaming for the 100 hours of Persona, and then finished that on a Friday, and Connor was just like, why don't we drive an hour and some change to a game store? And I'm like,
yeah, you and I just have different perspectives on how to handle things, generally speaking. Like, where I'm like, let's just get all the painful stuff done in one day.
Yeah.
So like, if we're already having a really busy day with streaming, let's just make it
even more busy.
Let's just get it all done. Let's just do it now. Because I didn't feel like we were in a pinch then. We might be in a pinch in the future where we can go to one of the closer stores.
Yeah, 100%. And like I completely agree. And I'm just busting your chops. But it was very funny to go, and I remember like the next day talking to one of my buddies, and they were just like, "Oh, how's the stream and everything?" And I was like, "It was so good." And he's like, "I bet you like napped so hard after that." And I go, "No, I got in a car and drove for 2.5 hours total, and we were up at the game store for an hour.
And then did we record Casual Gaming News Conversation after that? Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was a great day.
No naps for your boy. There was no sleepy time in the middle there, but it was a really good day. And honestly, a really fun day. I like, as every now and then, like, we talk about the strife that comes with this and some of the organizational stuff that is sometimes annoying. It's like, we went up to a game store. We bought, we had Culver's that day probably. Like, so much fun. We love doing what we get to do. So shout out to that.
And then you get 2 bonus TikToks every other week at that $10 tier. At the highest tier, you get your name read at the end of each and every podcast, and you can write in to be the 4th topic on the Co-op 64 podcast. Twitch, we are continuing on with Liza B. Liza P. first playthrough for Brady. Nick and I co-piloting on Monday. Nick should be finishing out The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time this week, Tuesday, Thursday.
Yep.
I am continuing on with my journey into Silent Hill 2 Original on the original Xbox on Wednesdays. No special streams or anything. We have the subathon coming up for Red Dead 2. Nick playing through Red Dead Redemption 2 for the first time, but that's at the end of the month.
Yeah,
so
let me get the date up for you real quick, because I do want to start calling that out. It is very exciting and interesting. We're going to be starting that on October 24th.
I thought that's what it was.
I was
going to say that.
Couple ways that this is going to work. We just want to break this down for y'all to make it nice and easy. First and foremost, it's going to be 5 minutes per sub. That's what we've always done. But this is going to be the longest subathon we've ever done. But we don't want to put more strife on the amount of subs that are necessary to get the game done. As always with Co-op 64, the goal is to do something really cool and to complete the thing and make sure that we finish out a game like this. And if y'all are honoring that time and effort with subs, we want to make sure that we give it right back, sort of deal. And so with that, we will not, this is a new thing for the first time, we will not be counting the time when I am asleep.
The timer won't go down.
Yeah, the timer will not go down. You can still gift subs during that time, and they will be added to the timer when we do come back through. But the stream will continue. It will say, if we stop, let's just say night 1 closes out and we're at 10 hours on stream still to go, the clock will stop. I'll fall asleep for 7, 8, 9 hours, whatever I need. Come back on, and then the timer will restart when we press go on Arthur's journey again. That will start up on Friday, and most likely go till
Monday
or Tuesday is sort of my assumption at this point. It's an interesting thing of like how much side stuff am I going to do? Probably a lot. You know, like there's going to be narratives that people and threads that people want me to pull, but just a heads up there. Get excited. October 24th. Streaming on Thursday. The amount of excitement that people had for that stream in particular got me really fired up. I'm very excited to go and play this game, and really close out an amazing year of like checking off some of the big dogs out of my backlog. So this is probably this might be the biggest game I have left on my backlog sheet. So I'm very excited about it.
Discord, we have a Discord community of over 2,700 community members where you can join up, talk about games, talk about movies, music. We have community nights, community game nights. We're playing Fortnite at the end of this month, so you can join up for that.
October 17th.
Then merch, we have t-shirts, hoodies, mugs if you want to support the channel that way. And last but not least, Apple Podcast Services. Leave us nice reviews over there. It gets the show out to more people, and we would really appreciate it. All right, getting into the hot takes. I'm going to take the lead here, if I may. My gaming hot take is that the XMB, the cross media bar, the UI for the PS3 and the PS Vita is the best PlayStation UI. And here's why. This thing is minimalist. It's futuristic. It's sleek. It's sexy, dude. You can zip from side to side with that little clicking noise going, and it's really satisfying to just go through these little menus, and it looks great, and you have your customizable themes and everything. They change the little noise as you're going across it. It was perfect. It was perfection. It was simple, and they just got more and more complicated as it went along, and it was completely unnecessary. The only thing that holds back the XMB from being perfection is the load times. We're talking about the PS3. You're opening up your trophies, it takes 10 years. You're opening up the PlayStation Store, it takes 5 years. Yeah, it's not ideal. But when it comes to just the design, the look, the layout, perfection. I love it. The XMB on top.
I'll counter you the PS4. You still have themes. It's still simple. Things run very well.
I prefer the look of the PS3.
You're able to just fly over to your library. Boop, just easy. Like, I think the PS4 is the best version of it. Honestly, too, I think that Xbox has a very sleek design with the Series X. And on the way that you can go and open your menus and
I
systems.
think the Series X UI is gross.
Oh, I think it's fine.
I think the original, the little blades for the Xbox 360, loved that.
I'm down for the 360 too. I think that the 360's UI works pretty gosh darn well too. But my goat is the PS4. Mainly that sweet Final Fantasy VII remake background, baby, that I had was so sick nasty.
Which one did you have?
The one with Cloud and Sephiroth looking away from each other.
Did it play a song?
I don't think so.
I had the Tifa one that you had to originally when it first dropped. It was exclusive to like Japan, so you had to make a Japanese account, download it from there or whatever, and then like load it onto your PlayStation, and then you switch back to your regular account. So that's how I got it on my PlayStation. And it plays Tifa's theme, and it's like her sitting on like the water tower. Fantastic.
Awesome.
I had that as my theme for forever. I don't know what I had for my PS3 theme, but either way, like even without a theme, I think that like the look of the background with like the little wave, like in the sound that cues in when you turn on the console, fantastic.
The violin.
I think everything about it is so sleek and futuristic.
It is
timeless too. Yeah. Like I'm booting it up now using the PSP all the time, and I'm like, dude, this thing fucking rules.
It does rule. My gaming hot take for this week is it is time to buy a Nintendo Switch 2. This is a question we get asked maybe more than any other question when we go on TikTok Live or Twitch, or people hit us up in the DMs or Discord or just any way that y'all communicate with us. it is always, is it time for me to get a Switch 2? Do you think that there's enough value for the Switch 2 to go and pick one up now that there's a couple games released? And my answer to you is resoundingly yes. It is time to go and pick up a Switch 2. There is so much good software already on this system. You're going to be playing games with the things that have just released already in the first 3 months of this thing. For you can probably play for the next like 6 to 9 months of just gaming and have it be easy. There's so many hours of good games on this system already. Mario Kart World is a terrific party game. Great to go and have in the back pocket, play with friends. And I highly recommend going through and trying out all the Grand Prix, trying out all the Knockout Tours solo too, and just going for those cups because they're really fun and the music rips and it's a great solo experience. But it really is like after 15 hours, it's a party game. With that being set aside, great party game, a lot of fun to have there, but not something you're going to sink a bunch of hours into. Donkey Kong Bonanza, one of the best games this year, one of your front runners for GOTY, one of my favorite games from this year. The game's awesome. The game is just so well designed. It is fluid and punchy, and I mean that as a joke
Pun
because
intended.
you are punching in this game a whole bunch. But it's just an immensely satisfying platformer that everyone should play. It's one of the best platformers of all time. And then now, as of right now, you are getting a little indie title called Hollow Knight Silksong that kind of broke the internet that you can put 30, 40, 50, 60 hours into and have a blast with and get your face smashed in by these hard bosses and experience this beautifully drawn out world. And you have a little indie title that is basically an immaculate roguelike, one of the best games I've ever played, Hades 2. And so we're talking about the value that's already on the system. Go and pick one up now. That's sort of my thing, where it's like, go and get one. And if you're like, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to hold off until we get through Pokemon and Metroid. And maybe you're someone that's stoked about Tomodachi Life or Rhythm Heaven next year or Fire Emblem. My counter to you would be there is a realistic chance this console goes up in price because you look at the other manufacturers, they're going up. They're pumping their console prices up. I wouldn't be shocked if this gets more and more expensive. It is time to buy a Switch 2. Highly, highly recommend. If you're on the fence, do it now is sort of my push. There is enough games and it's only going to go up in price.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to buying new consoles or waiting, the confusing aspect that I always latch onto is that you're just letting the backlog build up.
Yeah.
And if you want to try to keep up with what's new, what's hot, and get through these games in a timely fashion, like I feel like it's prudent to just kind of get it when, if you can afford it at launch, so you can just kind of keep up with the new games. If you were to buy one in the summer of next year, like what are you gonna buy 6 games at once?
Yeah.
Right off the rip? It's like, no, like, and you're not gonna get through them. So if you do that, so then you're just playing catch up for years from then on. And I think that can be nice for some people to just kind of be able to go at their own pace and just kind of peel through the backlog and be like, I feel like playing Metroid Prime 4 now, rather than at launch, and that's fine. But for me personally, who wants to keep up with everything, I just, like, I'm going to buy the console no matter what, and waiting is only going to serve to put me behind. So.
For sure, man. It's time. And I think that's the big messaging that I just feel like we get asked that all the time. And so I wanted to do a hot take on this one and be like, it's freaking time. Like, and people still are talking about like the value of this system. It's like, there's...
It's just going to build.
It's just going to build. Well, like,
that's every console.
You look at the way we've discussed this compared to back in June when we were reviewing the console, and it's just like, well, it's really going to come down to software. The software is now here.
Yeah.
It's the story. The story on the Switch 2 was already partially written when we were at the end of the Switch 1 life cycle.
Because Pokemon in 2 weeks, we have Metroid Prime 4 in
a month and some change.
We have Kirby Air Riders, which we don't know if it's
very excited.
Be good
but am I going to react to another direct? Apparently, if I'm around, this is another one of my favorite things that I love that we get to do is. I don't know if there's anything better than reacting at like 9 a.m. to some random presentation about a video game that I slightly care about. You know what I'm saying? Like, boy, oh boy, the way that the tides can turn on the Kirby Air Riders direct, where I'm like, I'm really excited for Kirby Air Riders. I sit down with Sakurai, we have a good morning together. I'm like, I'm a little bit less interested in Kirby Air Riders. It is always a fun time, though. I really do love that and appreciate that. Shout out to some of my old college roommates that used to go and react with me to those presentations at like 9 a.m. for no reason. It was a great time, though. Learned a lot. Connor, you ready to hop in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Connor, you just beat a little game called Silent Hill F. Happy spooky season. Happy October, buddy. What do you think about this one, and what did you score it?
I gave Silent Hill F a 7 out of 10. I think this is a good entry in the Silent Hill franchise. Like you said, roll credits last night. Got the normal ending. Took me about 8-9 hours, so not a very long game. I did look up all the other endings that you can get on repeat playthroughs, saw like the little changes that'll happen throughout. So I have the full picture of the game, I think, at this point. I think it's a good game. Not a great game, though.
All right. Let's hop into story, which obviously, like, I feel like horror games in general, Silent Hill, there's a lot that can be going on, whether it's just like a fantastical tale in Resident Evil or if it's a little bit more confusing or wild. How is the story in Silent Hill F?
Yeah, I think this is the area that hooked me the most and made me kind of push through to the end. Hinako's journey, I think, is really interesting and deals with some pretty complex and heavy themes. There's a lot of symbolism here for people to dig into. In typical Silent Hill fashion, a lot of the story as it's going along makes you go, what the fuck is happening? Like, I do not understand this. But once you get to the end and more things are getting revealed and things are coming together, it makes you kind of retroactively look back on that journey you went on and been like, oh, that's what this meant. This is what this is symbolizing. And I think that's going to be really fun for people to dig into. And I'm sure there'll be a bunch of like video essays of ending explained. And this is what happened in Silent Hill F. And I think people are going to enjoy digging into that aspect and like going on forums and stuff and talking about what they think these different things meant. So yeah, I think the story was great. There's some really grotesque, uncomfortable moments. I don't think this game is particularly terrifying, but I would say it's uncomfortable.
Okay.
There was some scenes that like made me like really squeamish. There was one where like I literally like took my headphone off or whatever, like took one side of the headphone off because I was like, this is so gross. Like I cannot handle this. So yeah, in comparison to Silent Hill 2, which like made me like dig my elbows into my armchair, into my desk chair, and like kind of like push forward and made me like super tense. I didn't feel that way while playing this, but it goes for like a different tone. It still feels like Silent Hill F. I just wouldn't say it's as tense or terrifying. It's just more uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fun one. I've played an hour of this game, so a lot of my questions are going to be stemmed from the fact like I know some stuff about this game, like the tone that's initially said and some of the combat systems and stuff like that. But I'm very curious to see where it goes. And I'm kind of thankful that I'm not playing a horror game that made you squeamish in that way, because I'm somebody that does not like horror games. Like 9 out of 10 horror games are just not going to be for me because I don't like to be scared. But that's cool that the story does have enough complexity to go and have people talking about after the fact. I'm curious to see what, like, when it hits my timeline, because it eventually will, where it's like, here's all the endings. Like recently I'm getting Silent Hill 2 endings on my timeline right now, and we talked about some of that, being like, dude, Silent Hill 2, what a video game. Okay, so the story's rock solid, kept you going and everything. Something that initially captured me, and I'm curious to see where it goes from here, is the environment of the game, the visual aspect of this horror game, because I think that it is terrifying and beautiful at the same time in a lot of ways. Does that continue on, and do you have any more to expound upon?
I know the developer said that that's kind of what they were leaning into, and I think they deliver on that promise. I think like the stark red of these like flowers mixed with the gray fog of this town, and that in typical Silent Hill fashion with that iconic fog, I think it mixes really quite well. And then also just like the red flowers with like the grotesque like kind of fleshy environments that kind of like all mix together is really uncomfortable, but like you said, also like kind of beautiful at the same time. So I think that's a really interesting mixture, and it doesn't get old throughout the entire runtime. I think it develops enough that it remains fresh.
Nice. Yeah, that is probably the thing that makes me want to come back the most to it is the environments just early on. But I'm like, I don't know if I want to play another game with this amount of fog. like there's it's going from the very start. It's a town that's just dumped in fog and
I will
nastiness.
say that there's like two distinct areas. I don't want to spoil anything, but I like how different they are and how they're interwoven. So it feels like when you're in one area for a while and you're like, okay, I'm kind of getting tired of this kind of environment, then you're brought over to the other one and you're like, oh, this is refreshing.
Interesting. I'm curious to see if I've been brought into that other environment yet. I think so, probably. With that feels like there's been a shift.
Played an hour,
yeah. Once again, try not to spoil anything, but I do think that other area is also interesting and beautiful in its own right. So
yeah.
You talked about some of the scariness of this game, and I think that's a big question that I have obviously when I was asking around about it. Now that you've rolled credits on it, scale from 1 to 10, how scary is it? And like, was this sort of the horror game that you were looking for when it comes to the amount of scariness heading into this October fall season?
I would say if Silent Hill 2, I think, is potentially the scariest game I've ever played. Silent Hill 2 remake.
Yeah.
So I would give that like a 10. I would say this is like a 5.
Okay.
It's got some jump scares that got me, but honestly, those like became less and less impactful as I went along. Like I got jump scared like later in the game, and like I didn't even flinch. Earlier in the game, I went, that really got me. But I think jump scares, generally speaking, are pretty cheap. But like the enemy designs, like they're uncomfortable and gross sometimes, but like nothing like that really kind of gave me nightmares or anything like that. Like it's tense and uncomfortable, but like not nearly on the level of other horror games that really pushed me. Where I'm not a horror guy. Like I don't like horror movies at all. I'm more comfortable with horror games. Like Dead Space was my first foray into that, and that pushed me when I was younger, and now I don't find that very scary. Resident Evil 7, very scary for me. That was the first time that I was like, okay, I'm gonna play a proper horror game. And once I got through that, I was like, I think I became a little bit more desensitized to horror games. But Silent Hill 2 like pushed me once again. Like I was like, okay, that's a new threshold for me to cross. Now going to this, it's like this is not even close to that Silent Hill 2 or Resident Evil 7 experience for me.
Silent Hill 2 last year legitimately was brutal to play at night in an apartment alone. Like it sucked.
I had to psych myself up every single time to play Silent Hill 2.
One of the this is it's not even a spoiler, so don't worry about it. But like the fact that there are just apartments in Silent Hill 2, I was just like, why? Like just being in a building that I'm like at any moment, like one of these doors that is a red line on the map can feel like it could be opened. That feels like my front door right now. It's exciting to hear that it's not like crazy scary, but I think that's a necessary spot though, where there's a lot of horror games that go and push that threshold in a major way. And I feel like if you like horror games, shout out to SGF this past year where they just kept on showing crazy and grotesque horror games. I like that there is an option for beautiful, chill, like we don't need to crank it up to 10 all the time, you know? So that is exciting to hear about. All right, story's good. Environments are good. Well, let's hop into this combat because I think that this is something that you brought up early on. I've experienced some of it. Is the combat a swing and a miss? Is it great? Is it bad? Where do you stand on the combat at this point?
Yeah, I didn't love the combat here very much. It's all melee focused, whereas previous Silent Hill entries that I played obviously have guns, so it's lacking in that inventory management. Line up your headshots. When you miss a shot, you really feel it because you're like, fuck, I only have X amount of bullets. Like I need to be hitting all of these shots. So it's lacking in that department, which I really enjoyed in Silent Hill 2. Here, I just did not find it very rewarding or fun. Like I rinsed and repeated the same strategy for every regular enemy fight, and even though they're throwing new enemies at you that are fun to see for the first time, like what freakos they're going to be throwing your way, they all kind of call for the same strategy. And I would hold L2 to build up my focus meter that would bring your sanity meter down, so you have to manage your sanity meter a little bit, but it's honestly it doesn't go down that fast. So I wasn't managing it that much. You just pop one of the med items to refill it when you need to, and you always have a lot of those. So it wasn't that difficult to manage, so I was constantly holding L2 to slow down time. And if my focus meter goes all the way up, you can press R1 to hit the enemy and stun them, and then you can swing away until they're dead. Or while you're charging your focus meter and they give you that visual cue that you can use R2 to stun them, you can do that. And it calls for the same thing. You press R2, it stuns them, you swing away, and then they perish, and then you move on to the next one. And every single enemy kind of calls for that. And even though they have different attack patterns, you're not really tasked with utilizing the dodge that much, because you can kind of just hang back and wait for them to kind of finish their moves.
Yeah.
And then do what I just said, where you press R1 to stun them and swing away. It's just not fun. And by the end of the game, like, I was like, this is so repetitive and boring that I was questioning whether or not this game would be better without any combat at all. I think that it would have probably worked better with, like, I was thinking of something like Outlast with like that, like, hide and seek kind of gameplay experience. I think that could have worked here potentially. But with the combat that is there, like, I just was pushing through it and was ending up running past some of the enemies because I was like, I just don't even want to engage with this.
Yeah, an hour in, I could already tell that this was not going to be for me combat wise. Like, I really had to, like, psych myself up to be like I played the hour, and it was before we had a conversation. I was thinking about hopping back in the night later in that night after a stream. I was like, I just don't want to be doing, because I know what this is from Silent Hill 2, and like Silent Hill 2 at least has the option to shoot, like, right. And that system is so much fun in horror games to hit your shot, get a shotgun shell, be like, okay, I only got one. Hit your shot and be like, yes, like, I did something with this. Compared to this, where it felt very much like when you have the wooden post in Silent Hill 2, and you're just like, backstep, swing, double backstep. They finish out their move, double swing, like, and like you said, I don't even think the dodge is necessary in this game often, which is kind of lame. Like, I think that I do think that it could be more finely tuned, also, where they could allow it. They wouldn't, like, go and start their swinging necessarily. There's enemies that go and, like, swing and stab and stuff like that. For example, there should have been systems where you have to get to a certain threshold of how close you are to them to force you to dodge and stuff like that. Right. And they really don't even do that in this game.
I do think this is mitigated a bit in the boss fights. The boss fights kind of do task you a little bit more with utilizing that dodge, and hitting a perfect dodge and, like, having, like, the time slow down is really cinematic and cool looking, and pretty satisfying. So, like, getting into that bob and weave kind of gameplay and getting your hits in when you can during these boss fights, I thought that was fun. Like, that first boss fight, I was like, oh, maybe I do like the combat, and then I got back into, like, the regular mob fights, and I was like, oh no, yeah. it's just the boss fights that I enjoy. But I would say that outside of the combat, when it comes to gameplay, I do think the puzzles are really solid.
Nice.
That was the one major positive when it came to the gameplay. I'm a big dummy when it comes to puzzles. I will admit it. Like,
what's up, dude?
I don't really enjoy this aspect of many games, but I felt like these ones were well designed enough that, like, I felt satisfied when I was able to figure it out, and I wasn't pushed too hard. Like, generally speaking, I was playing on puzzle difficulty hard. There's two different difficulties here, so it's story or hard, for each of them, and then I guess there's one more above that unlocks. But combat was set to story, which is default. I just did the default setting. So combat was set to story, puzzle was set to hard, and I felt satisfied with coming to whatever solution I needed to figure out for these puzzles. A lot of them environmental based. Some of them kind of reminded me of. There was one that reminded me of PT a bit, where you're kind of like in a loop and things are changing. So that was pretty cool. But
nice.
A lot of riddles, like kind of reading something and trying to interpret it and figure out, like, where you're supposed to put something or how you're supposed to progress. I found those generally satisfying. There was some that, like, I just could not figure out that I ended up looking up the solutions to, but I think they're all really well designed, really well thought out.
Yeah, so. Even when you looked it up, it was a situation, what we talk about all the time on streams and stuff like that, where you're like, oh, I could have gone that, I just wasn't there yet. So nice. So I got stuck on a puzzle. That's why I stopped playing when I did. I was stuck on a very early puzzle, not the one at the altar. Do you know what I'm talking about? The one right after that, where you have to flip things. I'm trying to keep it as vague as possible, like tiles. There's many tiles around.
Oh yeah.
Totally didn't know how to do that. It's probably very, very basic. Like
the fact that I got that, I was like, oh hell yeah, dude.
Nice.
I was like, at first when I was reading, I was like, is this what this means, and it was. And I was like, oh, nice, cool. I feel very smart right now.
But that's good that you feel satisfying with some of those puzzles and designs. Last thing, you touched on it already. You don't need to go too deep in on it, but item management, there's plenty of items in this game, right? That doesn't slow down anytime.
There's too many, honestly. Like, you constantly have healing items, you're flush with them, so it just kind of removes that endorphin hit that comes with picking up items that I felt I got in Silent Hill 2. So I think that's a bit of a bummer. Before we move off of this game, though, I do want to touch on the characters real fast. I think Hinako is a great protagonist. I think she really carries this story. It really is her story, and the way that she plays off of the supporting cast here. A lot of the journey she is alone, but when she is around others, I think she plays off of them really well. I played with the Japanese dub.
Okay.
I think performance-wise, everybody gives a great performance. The writing is great. So yeah, I think that the characters are definitely a shining aspect of this game as well, that give you a really good vehicle for experiencing the story.
Nice. James or Hinako?
James, I think.
Okay, because I'm curious. Like last year, a big thing of banging the drum for James. You were all in on James potentially pulling this out. Like performance wise this year, Hinako though, one of the best for you.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, are we all set on Silent Hill F?
I think so.
All right, are you ready?
Yeah. Let's talk Hades. Nick, you've been playing Hades for the last week or so.
It's been only out for a week or in some change.
Okay. Yeah.
Hades 2, by the way. Yes.
Yeah.
I've been playing Hades all month beforehand, and now we're hopping into Hades 2.
How are we feeling?
I'm not finished with this game. They have not rolled credits on it yet. I have not experienced a couple of fights. I want to keep it very vague for spoiler reasons, because there are things and mechanics in this game that can be spoiled. I say all the time, though, and this, we will come back to Hades eventually. I want to do a short form review with this eventually down the line. I will beat Hades 2. I say all the time that when we're talking about the best of the best, I give 9.5s a lot. Like, where it's just like, it's so close to that 10. Like, it's so close to being that masterpiece. And then when I fall into giving a game a 10, I'm like, the game forced me to give it a 10. Like, I'm trying not to, but then I have to. That's how I feel about Hades 2. Where it's just like, I'm trying to find the flaws and the slip-ups in this game, and it's like, they just aren't there. Like, this is just one of the best games of all time. It is by far the best game I've played this year, in my opinion. Like, I think that it's just immaculate. Narratively, I'm so intrigued by every single character. It's the classic thing with Hades 1 where you have the god design, and it is, okay, quick little interesting thing about the dynamic between you and one of the gods. That's either your uncle or your great grandfather's mother's cousin, whatever. Like, it is the classic system for Greek mythology. They're just like getting introduced to all these family dynamics, and then the way that they are pushed and prodded by the different ways you interact with the gods, and the way that you can gift very similar to Hades 1, the gift system's back in there. So if I gift something to Zeus, Poseidon might be pissed off about it. He might be like, where's my gift, bro? Like, what's happening there? That sort of dynamic goes in, is so fleshed out, and is so interesting in this game. I think it's even more interesting than Hades 1. Then I'm like, okay, already characters are better. By the way, Hades 1 for me is like 9.5 out of 10. Like, I think that's just one of the best games ever. I love it to death. But I'm like, all right, characters are already better. Weapons, I'm pretty sure there's more of them, and the way that they are different and even more dynamic than the original is so interesting and so cool. The first one, I tried each weapon 1 or 2 runs, didn't love all of them except for one, and then I just stuck with the one that I enjoyed. This one, I'm now stuck to the one I enjoyed the most, but I've given all of them like a fair shot, and also now understand how they work in a way where I'm like, oh, you can build a run completely around this with this weapon compared to the weapon I'm using, and I just prefer using my special, where, oh, this weapon would be unbelievable for just holding down your attack button and smoking people. Oh, this weapon would be great for your cast and getting backstabs and stuff like that. I think that it's even more dynamic than the original Hades. Then when you're talking about the combat, you also add on the fact that every single thing is back in action that you got in the previous title with your cast ability, your attack ability, and your special ability. But they all have an extra layer called the Omega abilities, where if you hold any of those buttons down, you have a stamina bar. Let's just say it initially starts with 50 Omega that you can increase as you go through each run. It goes and takes out a chunk of that depending on how long you hold it down and makes an even more powerful attack. It is so insanely satisfying to have that extra layer. Because basically what we took a already nearly flawless attack system in the original Hades with those 3 moves, where attack is your basic attack, a special is just a little bit different and more unique to what that weapon is trying to do, and then your cast in the original, you would go and be able to toss things out and it would inflict like depending on what your cast ability was, maybe it's a power beam, maybe it is a you toss it and it hits somebody with lightning because you got a ability from Zeus and stuff like that. In this one, the cast goes and gives you a AoE attack, where the area of attack goes and initially stuns people, just locks them in the same area for a few seconds. And then you can go and have that ability continue to go and be boosted to start putting out damage and or go and slow enemies down. That all 3 of those things are back in action. But then you add in the Omega abilities to go and add even more interesting power-ups that you can get from the gods in each run, where you went from 3 basically attacks and moves and abilities that you can make cool and interesting and dive into for each run and be like, I want to go all in on this or that. Now you have 6 options for them because each one has an Omega ability that you can go and hold down. That extra piece of dynamic gameplay makes this game so much fun. It gives the player even more agency, which is insane to talk about when you're talking through Hades, because the Hades combat system in Hades 1 was already basically perfect. The fact that they made it even more perfect from a gameplay standpoint is fucking insane. It is so impressive. It is so well designed. And when I am going through each run, I have not had a single moment when I die that I go and was like, oh fuck, I had the best run going, and I lost it. It's all over. Every single time I go, no, I can do better, and I'm going to do better because they are giving me so much. There has to be a better way to build this out. There has to be a better way to create. Let me go and switch up, and instead of going all in on my special, let's only do a cast run. Let's only do an Omega special run. Let's only do an attack run. Let's only go for backslashes for this run. Every single time, I'm so sure that I can optimize better than I just did. And the run that I was having, I in the moment was like, this is so good. I'm doing so well right now. I feel so powerful. I figured it out. And then the run ends and I go, no, I can do better. Perfect roguelike design. Perfect. I felt that way in Hades 1, and I was like, I want to do better because I think I can do better. This game is saying I want to do better, and I know I can do better because the amount of options they are giving me. It is so insanely impressive. I've never, I like, Balatro is a perfect game, basically. But for me, it results in being a little bit boring because it's just cards and there's not that combat. And it is a puzzle, but in this scenario, the combat and the dodges and the way that this game all works from a gameplay design, I think is arguably one of the most perfect things I've ever played on the sticks. Like, it is just perfect. I don't know how it gets better than this. This game is way more fleshed out than the original Hades 2 when they're talking about the amount of environments, the amount of enemies, the different designs of those enemies, the way that you can go down it and you are trying to defeat Kronos time and time again, kill Kronos. So it's the whole line in this game. I fell in love with the world of Hades 1 so much. These environments, they're so distinct. They're so interesting. The enemies are so well designed. I was like, there's no way that they can do it better. They did it better. the enemies are even more interesting. Their attacks are even more well developed and make me want to go and figure out what to do, how to do it in a way that I'm like, I will get better because these enemies have gotten better and I need to get better. I need to step my game up. I felt like I was the shit at Hades, but when I put that game down, I was like, I'm good at this game. And then hopping into Hades 2, I got humbled so fast, so immediately that I'm just like, shoot, I suck. Like, and it felt awesome because the enemies, I'm like, but I know I'm gonna conquer your ass. I know I'm gonna get back at you for killing me on this previous run. And then you get a little bit further and a little bit further, and you see more enemies, and they're so well designed. It is like the thing that I'm going to go and repeat more than anything in this review. The word I'm gonna repeat is design. This game is immaculately crafted, and the way that the enemies go and get better and better, it's unbelievable. Not even discussing the boss fights. The boss fights are even more interesting, more entertaining, and more well developed than the original Hades. They are some of my favorite boss fights, not just in indie games, not just in gaming this year, but of all time. I think that the 2D design, like top-down design of this game, I was nervous on how limited a boss fight could be when I was playing the original Hades, and they showed up and showed out in a way that I'm like, oh no, these rip. Dude, these boss fights are unbelievable. I am so happy to run into the first boss again, the second boss again, the third boss again. I'm so excited to go and see what those new voice lines are going to be in the new writing, because every single time is interesting and exciting. It is so good when it comes to getting your head beat down time and time again, and then being like, all right, let's run it back again and get better and show up and show out in that next fight and step up to the plate and dominate. I think the boss designs in this game are immaculate. I think that they are so unbelievably good. Now hopping into the design when it comes to art design. Holy shit! They had a perfect art design in Hades, and they made it better. I don't know how they made it better, Connor. I understand that I sound like a madman right now, that I am off my rocker when it comes to how excited I am about this game and how good I think this game is. I cannot properly, and I'm trying my best to put into words how well developed this game is. It is one of the best games ever. In my opinion, step aside Silksong this year, especially when it comes to the indie conversation. Silksong is terrific. Like, it is so good. But I don't think there's so few games that can hold a candle to what Hades 2 is doing right now. Like, it is unbelievable. I felt after I posted and I'm going to get back into my thoughts on the actual game, but once again, I'm just riffing at this point. I'm just going for it. When I posted that, we posted 2 weeks after we originally said on this podcast my Hades take about it winning Game of the Year. And we then got the information that it turned out to be the highest reviewed game this year. It's at 94 on Metacritic. It's beating Expedition by a point. It's beating Blueprints by a couple points. You know, it's up there as the best game. I think that 94 is like well too low. Like, kind of insanely too low for what this game actually is. Because it doesn't have flaws. Like, it's just dubs, Connor. And so when people are like, Nick, you're insane for saying that Hades 2 is in the same competition as Expedition 33, I'm like, you're insane for actually saying that for the exact opposite reason. And I think Expedition 33 is fucking awesome. Like, I love Expedition 33. Car, this video game is so good. This video game, last night, I go and I'm playing cards over at Brady's. I left early to come back and play Hades, and I was like, oh man, I got to wake up for church in the morning. That's an early wake up, 7 a.m. If I leave by 10, I can play for 2 hours. I just stayed up till 2:30 in the morning, Connor. I looked at the clock, it's 1 a.m. and I go, I know I got to go to bed, but just one more run. All right, just one more run. And there's something in this game that I brought up during my hot take, and to experience it yourself is fucking insane, where the game completely shifts in a way that you're just like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to this than meets the eye, and there's so much more to dive into, and you're just like, holy shit. And so I started experiencing more and more of that last night, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up, it is so good. Like, and I'm like, it is the best ice cream sundae, and then they just keep on adding more and more scoops onto it. This is why I play video games, Connor. This is why I love video games. getting back into the actual video game itself, the art design is immaculate. The music that we talked about for Hades 1 being ripping and tearing during those boss fights and everything, it just all rips. It just is all so good. The way that they're able to go and play with bass lines in this game is so well done and so freaking good that I am like legitimately awestruck that this team was able to go and produce this well of a product to go and perfectly match what is happening on screen. Every boss fight feels so epic, not just in the scale of what you were doing and the fact that you are finally powered up and are capable and able to take on a boss that beat your ass 20 minutes ago, but you also have the soundtrack bumping in your ears that is making you just be like, oh, hell yeah. I've been playing this on my monitor, which I normally don't do when it comes to video games. I switch games. I often am playing on the big screen. We all know this. I have just been loving just like my monitor. I'm using my monitor speakers because I don't have a speaker set up. I'm just making sure it's all the way up, trying to enjoy it as much as humanly possible. This game isn't a podcast game for me. I thought it was going to be a podcast game for me in the way that Hades 1 was, where I was like, I'm playing Hades in the background of things, just getting ready for Hades 2. I'll throw on the Min-Max podcast. I'll throw on an episode of the Kind of Funny podcast. Maybe I'll listen to some music. No, I have to be locked in because it's so good. The music that I'm listening to in this game is better than the music I would be listening to on Spotify of my personal choice. It is so good. I love this game. It is one of my favorite games of all time. It is one of the best games of all time. Hades, is there a chance that I enjoy this? This is going to be my favorite indie game of all time. The answer is most likely it is. Just got to. I want to wait. Once again, people have taken away the 10 because the story ending and stuff like that, and it's not all hit for people towards the end of their experience. I'm 20, 30 hours in. I don't even fucking know at this point. I stopped counting around hour 8 because I was like, oh, it's just gonna be a lot of late nights for you, buddy. I am so we brought it up. Ghost Yote's been on the shelf because I've been reviewing and trying to go and put hours into this. Ghost Yote would be on the shelf if I wasn't on review right now. I just would be if I wasn't doing this, if we weren't doing this, if there wasn't the next game down the pipeline, I don't know how I would stop. I don't think I could be stopped when it comes to this game. I still need to beat the right boss and everything, and in roll credits and make sure it's a very similar format, I believe, to Hades 1 on how you actually fully roll credits in this game. But I love this game. I love this game so much. It is one of the best games I've ever played. I don't know if I've felt that we're no longer talking about oh, do I like this game as much as Forza Horizon 5? We're talking about this game in the way, do I like this as much as I like The Last of Us and Elden Ring and Portal 2? And this is truly one of the best games of all time. The character designs are so good. The family dynamics are so good. The overworld, the hub world, holy shit, didn't even mention that. Hub world, way more fleshed out, way more interesting than before. The way that you can concoct potions to go and make your next run better and have the upgrade systems well developed, where it's oh, I went and in these environments, after clearing them out, I'm going to dig up seeds to go and give me the next thing and allow me to go and come back to my original camp, plant that seed that's going to then, after I finish this run, pick up the crop that I just did, put it in this giant mixing pod, witch's brew, to go and then allow my heals to be better forevermore. It's perfectly satisfying. Way more interesting than the mirror in Hades 1. It is so much more complex, but it's not complex enough where I'm frustrated by it, where I want the mirror back, where it's just, oh, I go and I get this and it forever upgrades my thing and it's nice and easy. It's no, this feels more deep and all the right ways. Hades 2 is one of the best games of all time. I think that everyone needs to play Hades 2. I think that if this is baby's first roguelike, great. I think you should play Hades 1 first. A lot of people have said, oh, you can just hop into 2. You will be way more satisfied if you play Hades 1 first. I'm so thankful I did. It does elevate that experience, in my opinion. Not it would be a 10 no matter what. It would be perfect no matter. That's the hard part of this too. We talk about masterpiece versus perfection often, that no game is perfect, that there is always flaws that you can point to, but the good outweighs the bad so much that you just call it a masterpiece anyways. I'm closer to this game being perfect, though, than a masterpiece even. It is that fucking good. Let's talk about BO7.
Dude was spitting bars, man. I have no follow-up questions. Like, you hit everything that I could have possibly asked about. That was fun.
I love video games so much, man. I love it so much. I'm sorry for the long-winded hype. Sorry for not letting you get in there and ask a question or two.
I don't know.
I just can't. I can't be stopped when it comes to this game. Like we're gonna finish this up. And I got some work stuff I gotta do, and then I'm gonna go hang out with some people, and it's like I'm gonna be hanging out with like a group of friends, and I love these people so much. They're all, and I'm like, let me get the fuck out of here. I want to play Hades, dude. Like It's so good. It's so good. BO7 Beta.
Brief impressions. Brief impressions because there's not a lot to dig into here.
I played 2 hours of the beta. My biggest negative, that's a concrete negative that I can bring up. Let's not, if Hades 2 didn't exist, that's important to say because we all know where I'm at with Hades 2. If I had the time to put more time into this and like really dive into a beta like this, normally a really good Call of Duty, I'd be like, just let me play it for the weekend. You know, like let's just have a great time. Let me play it for the weekend. Have some fun. I have no interest in hopping back into the beta experience with this. I got my fill. We had a very fun secret stream. Turn notifications on Twitch. A little fun fact for you. We like to do that every now and then. Streamed a couple hours of it. Had fun. So easy to have fun playing Call of Duty. These games are well developed. They're good video games. Like at the end of the day, like we're talking about a team that is making a great first-person shooter. That's what they do. That's what you get from Activision nowadays. It's normally pretty gosh darn good. The guns feel great, all that stuff. The thing that is so disappointing is the lack of flavor and sex appeal in this game. This game's not sexy. It's not like something that I want to go and talk to my buddies about and be like, hey, like, this was a great time. It's like, it was all right, you know?
It looks like Infinite Warfare to me when it comes to just like the visuals and just kind of like how bland it all looks.
It's gray, and it's like even the thing that I keep on bringing back is there's a map in the beta that has like clay or dusty brown sand floors, but like it's bland. I'm like, why can't this be like a vibrant orange that like really pops your eyes and it's like, okay, it's going to leave an impression on you, because that's the most interesting color in this map. The rest is just whites and grays, and I'm like, where's the pop? And I go back to BO3 with Combine, that map that is one of the most basic maps, but there are those bright green spots and bright orange and bright blue spots on the wall runs that are like, all right, we got something here. Even the middle of the map has some color design in the middle of it that you're just like, okay, yeah, like this is distinct. I know what that map is. I could not tell you the name of a single map, and it's like 3 maps. I played them all 10 times. I couldn't tell you a single name. I couldn't tell you a single thing that's like really on the map that makes it an interesting POI. So the maps are buns. The gunplay, time to kills really fast and frantic, when I think that there's some fun to that. Like, oh, just line up a couple headshots, pop, pop. And it's Call of Duty. You're right back in action as always. But like, I think that the guns are not like cool looking. Like, we're talking about a futuristic gun. Make the fucking ray gun. Make something cool to look at. Nah, it's going to be basic as shit. I think that the way that this game is a half-baked movement shooter is the biggest sin. I love BO3. I love BO3 more than I love a lot of video games. I think that it's not only my favorite Call of Duty, I can argue that it's the best Call of Duty because of how freaking good of a movement shooter it is. They went all in on that, and it worked. It paid off. We're getting a half-baked movement shooter with this jump system where you're not able to wall run. You're able to wall jump. And there's going to be cool-ass clips that come from it. Don't get me wrong. Omni movement's back, so you're going to be able to wall jump forward, left, and be able to jump back right if you want to. Like, crazy stuff's going to come from this, and that's cool. I'll see the TikTok clips and be like, oh, man, that guy's a pro. Awesome. But, like, as someone that's a basic boy, like, I just want something that feels good for me, too. Like, and I think that the casual gaming audience, which is a huge part of the Call of Duty audience, is going to be like, yeah, this just isn't for me when it comes to the movement aspect of this game. You did it. You're leaning in on it. You're bringing it up as a talking point, and you're not doing it well. So one of your biggest sells of the game of movement kind of stinks. The maps that we've got to play kind of stink. The gunplay kind of stinks. I think that this is just gonna be a major swing and a miss. Can't wait for October 10th with Battlefield 6. Like that's the big headline. Like,
you think this game's gonna flop?
I think that this is arguably the worst Call of Duty that they could put out against Battlefield 6 and the current hype that it has.
Yeah.
I think if BO6 came out, there would be Battlefield 6 would still, after the beta that they had, would still steamroll and like still crush, but there would still be a lot of people being like, yo, including myself, BO6 campaign. Awesome. Like a must-play campaign when it comes to first-person
And
shooters.
the multiplayer when it first launched, people were all about. Yeah.
It was really great, but I still think the issue with Battlefield 6 is the hype around that. It's still, but the product is still quality of BO6. You're now talking about you got a freaking tsunami of hype with Battlefield 6. BO7 is like going to be
negativity. It feels
just
like
crushed, and that sucks. I love Call of Duty. We all know this. Like, that is one of my favorite things to each year hop in, try it out. And some years I hop in for 5 hours. Some years I hop in for 50 hours. It depends on how good the game is. You got to earn the attention of the player. BO7 did not do that in my beta experience.
All right, let's hop into the draft. We have a really fun one for you today.
What a freaking podcast for your boy, baby. Hades 2, and then I finally got the draft through. We've talked about this draft for so long.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's been begging for months to do this draft, and I'm like, no, this is so stupid. We're not doing it. But you want the first pick?
Sure.
Today, we are drafting video game consoles that you think you could throw the furthest. That includes handhelds. Nick, what is your first pick?
Dude, I think I could absolutely sling a DS. And here's the thing. I'm going to go two ways with this. I could go and fold the DS and toss it like a football, or I could go and flatten it out with the dual screens, toss it like a frisbee, baby. I could absolutely... I'm thinking I could throw a football about 40-ish yards around there. I think I could huck a DS like 55 yards, dude. That thing would be launched. And that is my first pick of this draft.
With my first pick, I'm going to go with the Game Boy Color. Has a decent amount of weight to it, but like not too much. I feel like it's got some good aerodynamics. We're throwing that far, baby. That's getting launched.
So I love what we get to do, man. I really do.
Second pick, PSP. Similar situation here. Has a little bit of weight to it, so it'll sail. It's small, so I'm throwing that with my second pick.
I'm gonna choose the PS Vita next for two reasons. One, I think I could throw it really far. Two, I want to get it as far away from me as humanly possible after the amount Connor's talked about it on this podcast recently. So, Vita with my second pick. And then I'm going to actually pick up a console, not a handheld for this next one. I'm going to go with the PS1. I think I could launch a PS1.
The PSONE.
Yeah, the little guy.
The like oval shaped one almost.
Yes. I think I could go, and it's still no deal. Frisbee toss it. I think I played Frisbee in college and stuff like that. I got a pretty good Frisbee toss. But at the same time, but the best part of my Frisbee toss is the hammer. I think I can hammer throw a PS1 real well through the air. That thing's going at least 35 yards.
Yeah. So I'm not going to pick the 3DS because you already picked the DS, and I feel like it's just redundant. It's too easy of a pick. I'm going to pick the PlayStation 2 Slim. Okay. Similar to your logic with the DS, I'm going to Frisbee that.
Yeah.
Bad boy. I feel like it's perfect for that.
Yeah.
And then my next pick, we're going to go with the GameCube. I feel like you got to, what's the thing where you spin to throw it?
Shot put?
No, that's like one of these, right?
Spin, toss, Olympics, sport. It is called cannonball toss. That's what I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to spin and launch this thing.
A discus throw. You could go with like when you hold it like this and spin it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that this is called a cannonball toss. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna spin and throw it utilizing the handle and launch it that way.
It's the best draft we've ever done. How many fucking picks do I have left? I got 2 left, right?
Yeah, and I won.
All right. I am going to go with my next pick and choose the Nintendo Switch. You can go and you can throw a Switch. The only issue is I think that because the screen is so thick that if it goes and like flips over as you're trying to frisbee it, it's just going to nosedive. But if you get a good few rotations on that bad boy, I think you're going to be A-okay. Frisbee with my next pick. Connor and I talked about this. You kind of can't draft an Xbox.
Yeah.
Those things are freaking huge. PS4 Slim. I'm gonna choose the PS4 Slim with
That's wild.
my next one.
That's heavy, dude.
Connor, I'm a strong boy, and I think I can throw a PS4 Slim real far.
With my last pick, I'm gonna go with the Sega Game Gear. Do you even know what that looks like?
I
What
have
that is?
no idea what that looks like off the top of my head.
It's a handheld, but it's a bigger handheld than like the DS or the PSP. But I feel like I could throw that bad boy pretty far.
Yeah, I was thinking Steam Deck, but that's gotta have some weight to it too. You know,
I mean, Steam Deck would definitely be easier to throw than a PS4.
dude, Connor, I'm a really strong boy. Okay, I'm a strong lad, baby.
Yeah, I had the Dreamcast listed here.
Yeah, that's a good pull too.
Potential pick.
You want to know what's a better pull? Talking about our amazing members over on patreon.com/coop64, where you can get this podcast 3 days early if you're over at any tier. But also the people at the highest tier get their name read at the end of each and every podcast we do here. Amazing members like Jakey P,
Cash R,
Pigeon Power,
Library Daniel,
Tyler,
Trace H,
Sir Shellis,
Raincoat,
U Gracie,
Chuzar,
MG Dunbar,
Mr. Munchies,
Farmer Spud,
Rocket Tater,
Novi,
The Dankest Mike,
Swampy Bits,
Jaxie T,
Tristan C,
Sconesy C,
Stracken 1978,
Das Goopy,
Dingleberg Rules,
Centuro,
Hook'em Horns,
Gonash,
Neutral Sphere,
Easton C,
Kingdom Hearts Rules,
Stooby Dooby Dooba,
Crispy,
DJ Zach B,
Uli,
Jacob D,
Big Mac,
Middle Nate,
The Patty Cake,
Bear Pog,
Cowboy Jesus,
Mega,
Yogi,
Dom,
Hold Now,
Colin C,
Rack,
Voodoo,
Milky Sense,
Alex the Golden,
Andrew H,
Master Diz,
Can of Our Games,
Bad Fellow,
Only One Rufus,
Drifter X1, Skirt Skirt,
Goops,
JMat B3,
Ali Benali,
Michael.
and Kingdom Hearts Sucks.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.